Hello and welcome to the book review section of Horizon, the videos in of JM Financial Services. And today we are going to review a very interesting book, The Art of Thinking Clearly, written by Rolf Dobelli. It's a very interesting book. And while it talks about the art of thinking clearly, it actually is about how we think, the way we look at various situations, the way we judge various things, and the way we make decisions. So more than how to think clearly, it is about the way we think or how we actually think. My experience with this particular book is that it helps me look at the flaws in my thinking. And that means if I know the flaws, can I improve my thinking, the way I take decisions? Let's look at what you normally see, the day-to-day experience that we have. Let's say it's a typical monsoon evening with very light fluffy clouds, not an overcast sky, but light fluffy clouds. Now in such a situation, what you typically see, a certain cloud at a particular time may appear like a rabbit. Sometimes you see the map of India, sometimes you see some other pattern, and that's precisely what we keep seeing every now and then. Even when you see the puddles on the road, we tend to relate it to some shape that we are familiar with. Sounds normal? Sounds familiar? Yes. Look at another situation. Whenever something goes wrong, take for example, somebody contracted a deadly disease, or somebody's house caught fire. So any such negative event, and typically the first question that comes to mind is, why me? What have I done to deserve this? Third situation, in the world of investing, a lot of investors keep sharing that after I bought the share, the price started going down, and after I sold, the price started going up. If these events sound familiar, then this book is definitely for you. Please read, it's going to be fun. At the same time, you'll also gain a lot of insights. Rolf Dobelli writes in the book that this is not his wisdom. He's borrowed it from other wise men. Incidentally, he calls himself a translator. So a lot of hard work, a lot of research work that others have done, scholars have done, he translates it into common man's language. But what a brilliant work of translation that is done. The book contains some 99 different fallacies, and Rolf Dobelli says this is not an exhaustive list. The actual number of fallacies could be more than this. And come to think of it, somebody has listed down 99 fallacies and says this is still incomplete. Today, for the purpose of this review, we are going to pick up two of the fallacies. The first one is what he calls the forecast illusion. Now, it's an interesting trait of most human beings to know the future today. What's going to happen? What's likely to happen? In that process, there is a whole industry of forecasters. And I'm not trying to undermine anything or anybody, but a large number of people try to forecast the future. Very few have tried to check the track record of these forecasters until Philip Tetlock came and he studied almost 30,000 predictions from roughly 285 self-appointed professional forecasters. Look at the phrase he's used, self-appointed. 28,361 predictions from 284 people is a significantly large number. And what was the result of the study? In terms of accuracy, the experts did only marginally better than a random forecast generator. In other words, if randomly somebody had forecast something, then experts did only marginally better on an average. But out of this, those forecasters who were darlings of the media, their performance was worse. And those who were forecasting negatives more often, the so-called prophets of doom, they were the worst of the lot. Another very interesting insight out of the study was, common sense actually suggests that typically if you continue to perform well, you will become more popular. But in the world of forecasting, the reverse happens. Those who are more popular, their track record is poor. And that's ironical. However, Rolf warns us, only going by this, don't stop listening to forecasters. Not all are bad. He cautions us to choose the forecasters wisely and carefully. The second fallacy that we're going to talk about, or second bias that we're going to talk about, is domain dependence. And domain dependence essentially means knowledge from one domain or expertise from one domain is not transferable into another domain. The expertise in one area cannot be, exported to another area. He uses the example of one of his friends. And this would, the people from the world of investing would be able to relate to this example very well. So Rolf says one of his friends engages himself in some crazy adventure sports. So he would do cliff climbing with bare hands. He would jump from the mountains using very limited safety equipments, and he gets a thrill out of it. But the same gentleman who is actually putting his life at risk is scared of starting a new business for the fear of going bankrupt. Look at the irony. And when Rolf told him, I would rather go bankrupt than die, this friend did not appreciate that. Expert in risk taking when it comes to one's life does not translate into expertise in risk taking when it comes to one's money. And we've seen many such examples in real life. When you see this behavior, you've got to caution yourself. For any investor, it's important to remember that a great doctor or a great lawyer or a great sports person or a great teacher or a great corporate executive may not necessarily be a great investor. I may have greatest of people skills, I may be greatest artist, but those skills may not be exportable into the world of investing. If you don't pay attention to these biases, you are likely to make huge and costly mistakes. We've looked at two examples. The book contains 99. So we can go on and on. But the idea was to introduce the book to you and not really read the whole book in front of you. So I would strongly recommend pick up the book, read the chapters any number of times. Keep rereading the book. And my sense is every time that you read a chapter, you are likely to get new insights. Thank you so much.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.